Imagine a scenario where you had the power to press a single button that would bring about world peace. No more war, no more violence, and a harmonious future for all nations. It's a dream come true for many, but there's a catch. Pressing the button would erase one entire culture from existence. No trace of its people, history, language, or traditions would remain. The question becomes, is world peace worth the cost of erasing an entire culture? This moral dilemma invites us to reflect on the value of both peace and cultural heritage, challenging us to think deeply about the consequences of such a choice. Let's dive into this thought-provoking question and explore what such a decision would truly mean for humanity. World peace is often seen as the ultimate aspiration for humankind. A world free from war, violence, and conflict would create a more stable and prosperous environment for all. Without the threat of war, millions of lives could be saved, and humanity would be able to focus on addressing critical global issues such as poverty, hunger, and climate change. In this peaceful world, resources could be distributed more equitably, leading to a reduction in inequality, and nations could cooperate to solve the biggest challenges of our time. People would live without the constant fear of violence or conflict, and life would be defined by cooperation and collective progress. But as ideal as this sounds, achieving peace at this cost raises significant questions about what is truly worth sacrificing for that peaceful future. Culture, on the other hand, is integral to human identity. It shapes how individuals see themselves and their place in the world. Through culture, we form our values, beliefs, and worldviews. It influences our language, our art, our food, and how we relate to one another. Culture connects generations, allowing people to pass down knowledge, traditions, and practices that have been developed over centuries. Erasing a culture would not just be a loss for the people who belong to it, it would also erase a part of humanity's rich diversity. Without cultural diversity, the world would lose much of what makes human society dynamic, vibrant, and uniquely complex. The loss of any culture would be a blow not just to those who identify with it, but to the collective history and wisdom of humankind. This dilemma forces us to confront the ethics of sacrifice. Would the elimination of an entire culture for the sake of peace be morally justifiable? On one hand, achieving world peace would bring relief to millions, ending violence and suffering. On the other, the ethical dilemma lies in whether it is acceptable to erase the heritage, traditions, and identity of a people in the name of peace. Some might argue that the well-being of the majority, the peace of the world, outweighs the loss of a single culture. Others, however, would say that no culture should be sacrificed for the sake of any cause. The question becomes whether peace, achieved through such sacrifice, would truly be sustainable or worth the cost. The unintended consequences of erasing a culture could be far-reaching. Cultures do not merely exist in isolation. They influence the world in numerous ways. From unique solutions to problems to groundbreaking artistic expressions, cultures contribute to the fabric of human progress. Erasing a culture means losing its potential to inspire and innovate. Perhaps that culture developed unique scientific theories, artistic movements, or ways of solving societal issues, ideas that could be lost forever. Cultural diversity has often been a driving force behind human advancement, and its erasure might lead to a world that is more uniform but less innovative. Moreover, the loss of a culture would create a void in human history, robbing future generations of the opportunity to learn from the experiences and wisdom of those who once thrived in that culture. The psychological impact on the survivors of the erased culture would also be profound. It's not just the culture that would be erased, but the identity of its people. They would experience a deep sense of loss, as their cultural roots, language, and traditions would vanish overnight. This loss could lead to feelings of grief, confusion, and a loss of purpose. Without their cultural identity, survivors might struggle to find meaning in their personal and collective histories. The trauma of such a loss would have lasting effects, leading to psychological distress and a sense of alienation in a world where they no longer have a place. The emotional cost of erasing a culture cannot be underestimated, and it would reverberate through generations. While the dream of world peace is powerful, the question remains, can we truly achieve it at the cost of cultural erasure? Peace is a noble goal, but it doesn't require the destruction of cultural diversity. True peace is based on mutual understanding and respect for differences. Achieving peace at the cost of erasing cultural heritage might lead to a world that is more peaceful on the surface, but less rich and vibrant in its humanity. Cultural differences often fuel conflict, but they can also foster creativity, innovation, and new ways of thinking. Rather than erasing culture, we should strive for peace that embraces diversity and celebrates the differences that make humanity strong. Rather than erasing a culture to achieve peace, we should focus on preserving and celebrating cultural diversity. Cultural preservation is vital to fostering global unity, as it allows us to learn from and appreciate the vast array of human experiences. When cultures are respected and celebrated, societies can work together to address global challenges in unique and innovative ways. Instead of eradicating culture, societies should focus on integrating cultural differences and fostering intercultural dialogue. This approach would create a world where cultures coexist, thrive, and contribute to global progress. By embracing diversity, we can build a peaceful world where understanding and respect for one another lead to unity, rather than division. The justification for erasing a culture for the sake of peace is a deeply controversial one. Some might argue that the end of conflict and suffering for the majority justifies the loss of a single culture. However, others would assert that no culture should be sacrificed for any cause. The idea of the greater good is subjective, and it's difficult to determine whether the eradication of one culture would truly result in greater happiness for humanity. No matter how noble the goal of world peace may be, it is challenging to quantify the value of culture and whether its loss is an acceptable price to pay. The true challenge lies in how we can preserve both peace and cultural diversity. World peace should not come at the cost of uniformity, but rather at the hands of mutual respect and understanding. It is possible to foster peace while still celebrating the rich tapestry of human cultures. Embracing empathy, tolerance, and open-mindedness across cultures allows us to build a world where peace and diversity coexist. Instead of erasing cultures, we should seek to cultivate a society where our differences are seen as strengths, not weaknesses. In this way, diversity becomes a bridge, not a barrier, to greater cooperation and progress. By nurturing an environment where people feel safe to express their identities, we create a foundation for sustainable peace. Shared values like kindness and equality can unite us without demanding the erasure of what makes each culture unique. True harmony lies in recognizing that differences, whether in language, tradition, or worldview, offer opportunities for deeper connections. A world that celebrates its diversity can be stronger and more resilient in the face of challenges, finding common ground while honoring its varied roots. The decision to press the button and erase a culture for the sake of world peace is ultimately a moral one. If we value peace above all else, we might justify the erasure of one culture for the collective good. But if we believe that cultural diversity is crucial to human progress and identity, the cost of erasing a culture might be too great. The real question is not whether we can achieve peace, but what kind of world we want to live in. A world that is rich in diversity, empathy, and understanding, or one that is peaceful, yet homogeneous, and lacking in the very diversity that makes human society thrive. The idea of erasing a culture to achieve world peace presents a deep moral dilemma. It forces us to examine our values, whether we prioritize peace above all, or whether we believe that cultural diversity is worth preserving at any cost. What do you think? If you were given the power to press the button, would you do it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking discussions like this one.